Auntie Gertrude, your contribution to the struggle and to the rule of law is not questionable. And therefore, you are well within your right to say that you are actually correctly placed on this endowment fund. So, I went to school with Sam and Henry. The times that Auntie Gertrude is speaking of, we were with Sam and Henry in Budo. We were in school. Okay, I didn't have to say in Budo, we were in school. So, yeah, I'm sure you would understand what I meant. So when we were in school, we were together. And by all this time, we did not know they were children of two rebels. All this time we were in school, both of the parents were rebels, together with the Honorable Kayindo Otafire. So we didn't know. They were very humble, very, very humble people. And even when Honorable Njuba and Gertrude came back, the humility in the Njuba family is commendable. Auntie Gertrude, about golf, don't worry. Many wives of golfers have similar feelings like yours. In the golfing planet, we call them golf widows. Because when the husband starts playing golf, they tend to disappear for long hours. But that is I think Uganda Law Society, thank you very much for starting these memorial trust funds and endowment funds. I think that's a very noble cause, and we will definitely support you in this cause. About Ben Chiwanuka, I will be there myself tomorrow, because as you remember, I was fired from the Law Society, so I do not quite subscribe to the instructions of the President of Law Society, so I'll be at the Ben Chiwanuka memorial lecture, because I was fired, so really. So if you find me there, don't say that I defied the President, I was fired already, so. Just going to attend your comments. I would love to get your written paper and read it. And there's some interesting things. I don't agree with many, but there are some interesting points there. And probably we'll have a conversation someday on how to balance Article 1 with civil society action. Because that is, I think, something that we need. But I think you raise interesting points. What is my role in the return of the President of Law Society? I don't know what my role was in his departure, so I don't know what my role will be in his return. But that matter is being raised here, but I have tried to steer very clear of this business of R&B and the fight, so I concentrate on what I am doing. So unless you really think I have some role I could play, I'd rather stay in my small corner where I was and not really disturb the radical new bar, so that I stay there and stay here and I do my work. But I'm happy to participate in any way you think I can help. But Honorable Nsibambi, as members of Parliament, these things that you raise here on the podium, we should actually actively work on the powers that are given to us in the Constitution to address them. I do not subscribe to the school of thought where I see something wrong and I have the authority to do something about it, and I'm not doing anything about it. So we can actually work with private members, bills, all these things you're talking about can be addressed that way. Maybe I'm not a politician enough to understand that this may be an opportunity to raise these issues, but we have a correct forum. Like, for example, enforcement of court orders. It's a matter that has been in our space as lawyers for a long time. The question is, how do you balance the two interests when a court order is misused and when a court order is being properly done? So I think what we need to find is, what is the middle ground? For example, in land, you will find people misusing court orders and evicting people. Now, those people have to be protected. So it's a neat balance that we need to sit down and talk about. And fortunately, all of us are talking about the issue of dialogue. What is it that we are not doing right, which you can correct? How can I correct it? So when they tell me that they are misusing court orders, like General Otafire said, yes, we know that the process is laborious. What do you think we can do to make it better? That is how you can help us in the executive to get our issues correct. Honorable Bijura, you have noted your comments, and we thank you very much for your contribution to the motherland. Lord Mayor, I think I've answered your major question. The other issues you've sent to me directly, what is the role in the return of the president? You can guide me. We were in class for the 4 years together. We studied under the same lectures, same lecturers. We know the same law. If you know a section that I can use as Attorney General, please share with me, and I'll be happy to use it. So the other issues that have been raised are correct. We really do not want to go back to where we were. I think Honorable Otafire summarized what our thinking is. None of us Ugandan want to go back to where they found us. So we need to work together to get to where we want to get. Of course, Honorable Otafire, like I told you, is the chief criminal, because for me, in the Constitution, they told me that everyone who wants to sue government sues the Attorney General. I think we should make an amendment and say, sue the Minister of Internal Affairs represented by the Attorney General. So all the offenses are committed there, and then they bring them to me to defend. So when people are disappeared, I normally write to the Minister of Internal Affairs and say, Minister of Internal Affairs, can you investigate and tell us where this person is? Then he comes back and tells me, I don't know where he is. So I go to court and I say, I don't know where he is. Then he comes in and says, you are responsible for it. General Otafire, we have to discuss this matter. I'm going to now start making our communications unprivileged. It's going to become public. So, but really, honestly, like Honorable Otafire said, no one wants that, and we try as much as possible to get the answers. And when we go to court as a lawyer to make an answer, we make it diligently and clearly. So do not think that we are not working. No one wants to see this. The balance between law and keeping the peace is what the executive is supposed to do. And like he said, we may make mistakes sometimes, and if we do, please correct us. And if we cannot, then you can say we were wrong. I am going to have a long conversation with His Worship, the Lord Mayor, on his issues, because he almost argued a bail application here, but I just realized I didn't have the authority to rule. You hand it back to the judiciary, and they deal with it. I cannot answer the bail application you have made. But honestly, it is times like this when you have people like Honorable Njuba that you sit down and reflect, and all these excerpts that you're reading reflect, and for me, they are personal. Some of these things you talk about are personal. So it's not that I was told about these things. My grandfather was disappeared, as you correctly read. Why? Because he was called Namatwida for a reason. He told it as he saw it. He went to prison as many times, maybe 10 times more than the late Njuba. He was in and out of prison as well at that time. So we really, those are personal to us who were in exile for a couple of years. So it is something that we need to reflect on, all of us as a nation, as a people. Where do we want to be and how do we want to get there? So if someone has a view, listen to it. If you don't agree, you can still tell them I don't agree. But failure to listen to each other, to talk to each other, to dialogue, I think is one of our biggest challenges. And maybe with this memorial lecture, we will sit down and start talking to each other. Because for me, like you said, when this war of RNB came, I couldn't talk to anyone, so I just kept quiet. For 1 year, I've kept quiet. Now we are back on track, I hope. I don't know. But 1 year later, I still seem to hear the same complaints of a year ago. So maybe you may need me to help you to get this where you want to deliver it. So I think that is why we need to work together to try and get these things together. But the radicalism needs to be balanced. So with those comments, I would like to present the speech by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni at the memorial lecture of the late Sam Kalega Njuba, the 18th day of September 2025. So all the comments that have been made before this should not be attributed to His Excellency the President, they should be attributed to me personally. So his message is, we are here to remember and celebrate the life of the late Sam Kalega Njuba and we remember him for his contribution to the liberation struggle that brought the NRM leadership to power in 1986. We appreciate his patriotic spirit and determination, since he did not deter his wife, Mrs. Gertrude Njuba, from participating and taking up roles in the struggle, considering the risks that were involved all along the way. This was a call to redeem the people who were undergoing brutality of past regimes, a humanitarian gesture that is worth commendation. He is also remembered for his service to this nation as the Minister of Constitutional Affairs, 1986 to 1993, a lecturer at Makerere University in 1981, a member of the Constituent Assembly of 1994, and for taking up political leadership roles in multi-party politics of this nation. His involvement highlights the NRM role in ushering in democracy by enabling multi-party political dispensation. Allowing people to freely pursue their political journey according to their discretion is a position we took and we continue to take, because the power belongs to the people who are the voters. The NRM is a Pan-African, non-sectarian organization. It is not opposed to people having difference in political views, but aligns with constitutionalism and the rule of law, security of the property of all Ugandans, and ensuring a peaceful environment in which Ugandans can thrive and achieve self-reliance and sustainability of our economic environment. We also advocate for hard work and pursuance of a mission that can cause a dramatic transformation to the masses. The NRM leadership has put up a spirited fight towards economic transformation since inception, and it will not relent until the objectives of the NRM liberation are met. We have been continuously advocating for poverty eradication since inception and put in place the necessary infrastructure, structures, policies, initiatives, and strategies to enable all the people get involved in the money economy. The NADS, Operation Wealth Creation, EMYOGA, Parish Development Model, GROW, have all been targeting Ugandans in different categories and equipping them with knowledge and funds to boost their ability to produce, sell goods and food for financial gain. We continue to preach the gospel of poverty eradication, coupled with advocacy for East African and African integration as a means of causing meaningful development as brothers and sisters of one block. This approach will cause an economic leap that will expand our local markets for goods and services, enabling global negotiation for opportunities, as well as avoiding oppression by unworthy global elements. We all have a part to play in the complete metamorphosis of the African race towards development. We thank God for the legacy of the late Sam Njuba of involvement in the NRM struggle and service to the nation. Finally, I appreciate Mrs. Gertrude Njuba for her role as a mother to the children during the demise of the husband, and her contribution to the service of the nation during the NRM struggle and standing firm to the cause of the NRM liberation to date.